Hello and welcome everyone on the Information Technology and Service Management PCB webinars. My name is Vler Arshala, the PCB organizer of this webinar, and today's topic is how business top management sees ITSM implementation projects. This webinar will be presented by Mr. Mostafa Alshamy. He is IT Service and Training Manager of EGYBYTE, with more than 13 years of international experience in ITSM, system management and security and infrastructure. Please write your questions and comments in the question box in the right hand control panel, or you may use the option to raise your hand, and Mr. Mostafa will answer to them accordingly in the end of the presentation. Please, Mr. Mostafa, continue with the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Vler, for your kind introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all fine, and I hope you can enjoy our webinar today about how does business top management see ITSM implementation projects, because we have a lot of people now trying to implement ITSM and governance, but they have a lot of problems. So we need to have 30 minutes out of our time to make it work out. So for me, I am Engineer Mostafa Alshamy, the IT Services and Training Manager in a company called EGYBYTE. It's in Egypt, with more than 13 years of experience, as Vler kindly said. And it will be my pleasure if any one of you would like to contact me after the webinar. And as you can see, this is all the contact information you can reach me out. So our agenda today will cover the following 5 points. The first one will be what does business top management think about IT and how can they see IT? Then we will talk about how does IT department think about ITSM, because we have many points of view and some of them are contrasting. Then we will discuss what do ITSM and governance enterprise IT theories say, and why ITSM implementation projects fail sometimes. And I don't like to write many scenarios or many cases, so I'd like to say sometimes. And we will end with how can IT department, any IT department, make the ITSM implementation project succeed. So let's start with the first point. What does business top management think about IT? Whenever we are talking about business, they are talking about they are looking from a different perspective rather than what we are seeing as an IT people or IT consultants. Whenever we have a business, we have some core and some supporting processes and functions. So, for example, if we are talking about a hospital, if we have a hospital, we will have something like the emergency department, the surgery room, and the ICU. These 3 functions we can consider as a core functions. There is no hospital with none of them or 1 or 2 of them. Any hospital should have the 3 of them. But when we are talking about supporting, we can have any other department in a hospital helping the hospital to do its core function. So IT for a business can be or can be a core function. So we have the best case scenario for us as an IT department to be a department and in IT service provider, which is an external IT service provider, and it's described in ITIL publications as service provider type 3, which provide services to the customer. And these services have some core services and some enabling services and some enhancing services. Core services, which is the nature, the core nature of the service, enabling how to have updates and patches and security for this service to be able to provide it to customers, and enhancing services, something like some optional features which can or can't be needed by some customers. So in this scenario, the ICT is the core. and we have an advantage in this case as business will believe our opinion and can spend some resources, some time, some money regarding our opinions and our improvement projects like the ITSM implementation. And we have other departments like sales, marketing, finance, etc., whatever it can be, as supporting. So they all are supporting ICT as a core because we are an IT service provider, an external one, providing IT services directly to customers in the market, whether this market is internal or external. We have another option, which is internal IT service provider in a normal business. And this one is called Type 1 and Type 2 in a ITIL publication. Type 1, whenever we have an IT department, pardon me, whenever we have an IT department inside a normal organization providing IT services for internal departments and employees. And Type 2, whenever we have of companies and an IT department providing IT services to the departments and the employees of these groups, group of companies. So in this case, we will have our end service or product, which is based on many services, and one of them is IT service, which means that IT or ICT in this case is not one of the supporting. And in this scenario, business don't believe that business management should spend a lot of money as they think on IT and its improvement project. So it will be tough for us to convince them. And later in this presentation and this webinar, I will tell you how to convince them to give you some care. Our second point, which is how does IT department think about ITSM? I guess that many people now have taken a lot of training and passed many exams in ITIL and in other success frameworks, and mainly ITIL, as we know, because it's the most successful one. And all of us are dreaming about how to better managing our resources and capabilities, as ITIL has told us that we have some resources like people, information, application, infrastructure, project, the financial capital, and at the same time we have developed some capabilities over some times, which could be some many years, like management, organization, process, knowledge. How can we make our capabilities coordinate and control our resources to provide value in the form of goods or services to the customers, which will provide us at the same time or earlier with demand, which will consume our assets and return some profit to us as an IT service provider. So this is one of our dreams, how to better manage our resources and capabilities. So whenever we are talking with anyone in the IT department who had already taken any course in ITSM, simply or roughly IT Foundation, even IT Foundation, he would like to say, I'm dreaming of having better management for IT and all the assets and resources we have. And I guess that ITIL will do it for us if we can implement it. I guess he or she is right, but to some extent. At the same time, they are dreaming of better managing or developing processes and functions. Because many of us know that ITIL has told us that whenever we have an IT service, this IT service has what is called service life cycle, consists of 5 stages, starting from the strategy, then the design, transition, operation, and all the time we have with us continual service improvement. It's a stage covering the other 4 stages. And we have 26 processes inside stages covering all the aspects of IT service, starting from the strategy, then the design, then the transition, the operation, and CSI. And all these processes and stages need people. So we have people organized in 4 functions. The service desk, the single point of contact for IT users, the people who need IT services. And application management, the function provides knowledge for application and their management, and technical management, which is the infrastructure management, and the IT operations management, managing our data center and all our monitoring activities. Lately we have what is called SMO, the Service Management Office. It's called after PMO, the Project Management Office, but this one is related only to service management, to manage the 26 processes and governance needs, in addition to the 4 teams, the 4 functions covering all the other IT activities. So we would like to implement all these so that we can have better management for our functions and procedures and everyday work. Other people I met are saying we have tried to implement ITIL and we already have succeeded in implementing some processes, some functions, and we guess that our next step will be showing off, telling others and especially the customers and competitors that we are qualified. We need to have something to prove that we are quality content company or service provider. So we are thinking about ISO IEC 20000, which is about SMS, Service Management Service. So if we are talking in ITIL about 26 processes, we have only 15 processes and a service management system, how to manage the IT services provided by you as an IT service provider. So some other customers and some other competitors would like to know if we are certified in ISO IEC 20000 or not, because it will make us more appealing in the market. And others are talking about better understanding of our stakeholder drivers. So we don't care about only ITIL processes or functions or showing off that we have a quality standard and our company is certified against it, but really we need to have quality. We need to achieve what our stakeholders dreams of or about. So we need to have something like translation from what is the stakeholder drivers are to enterprise goals, to IT related goals, to enabler goals, simply to achieve the stakeholder needs, which are benefits realization, risk optimization, and resource optimization. And whenever we are talking about resource optimization, we should talk about risk optimization, because whenever we are trying to optimize, there will be a risk of losing the quality. As you know, because quality will cost you more. So whenever you are trying to reduce or optimize the resources, you will affect the quality, so you need risk optimization. So in these 3 slides, we have some points of view, some perspective of IT stuff these days. Some of them are talking about ITIL will be the best scenario for us. Others are talking about what is next we need to be certified, because ITIL doesn't provide any certification for organizations, it's only for people, for it's not for organizations, so we need ISO 20000. Others are saying we need what is better, which is governance, to achieve our stakeholder needs. So they are talking about what we can say simply a wizard, and they are dreaming of achieving all their needs, all their targets, their goals, simply by thinking that applying a framework or a standard will make it happen. So they are thinking it's so easy, it's a wizard, an old man, a magician with his stick, and he can make it happen whenever we are trying to think about implementing it. So let's go to the next point, which is what do ITSM and governance of enterprise IT theories say? So it's on the other hand, we have on one hand what people think, and on the other hand what the frameworks and the standards owners of intellectual property are saying. For ITIL, simply the ITIL Key Benefits, as many of us know, support business outcomes enable business change, manage risk in line with business needs, optimize customer experience, show value for money, continually improve. For myself, I have implemented ITIL in many places, and I have seen some of these benefits actually happen and achieving a lot of benefits, other benefits other than these to my customers. But it's not easy as we can think. For ISO IEC 20000, the key benefit is to be certified as an organization, and this will make you lead the market in some, especially in some other Arab countries, not Egypt. We have governmental bids only accessible just to certified service providers. So it will make you distinguish in your market. And for COVID-5, simply value for business. What business need as a value, we will do it by having our benefits realization and cost and risk optimization at the same time. So the frameworks and standards are going with us to simply say that we are all dreaming about doing more with this. But I guess that all these are jokes, because reality is something different. So let's talk about our topic, why ITSM implementation projects fail sometimes. We have only one slide in this point, but I guess it's some way powerful one. So the causes of failure, as I have faced them in many locations and many countries, one of them is vision not clear. The customer and the sponsor are not knowing what they need. They have some budget and they have a lot of problems, a lot of complaints from their customers, and they are thinking that if we are implementing ITSM in our organization, it will be the solution for all our problems. In other cases, there is no assigned sponsor. So the project failed because there is no one keeps interest of having this project completed successfully at the end. Also for budget, some people are thinking that implementing ITIL or COVID is not expensive because ITIL is a public framework, and for COVID I can go to ITIL website and I just register my name and email and I will receive the public framework for COVID for free. So I guess that implementing them both will not cost me anything, but on the opposite, it will cost you a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of management needs and commitment. Sponsor and the customer need results too early, and this is the most common cause of failure. The sponsor and the customer are thinking that implementing ITSM should be short and we need the result in as early as we can. But if we are talking about ITSM implementation, frankly, it's about changing mindset of people, changing how they used to work every day. So it's not easy and it needs change management with it. Change management was not taken into consideration as that all our employees and our customers and our suppliers will accept the new improvement and the new working methods, and they will go with it, and it will be something like a piece of cake, and on contrary, it will be the opposite. They will fight the change, and there will be change resistance. Automation planning was not completed, which means in many bids and in many circumstances, I have some customers who need a specific software for the automation of ITSM, whatever it could be. But they are insisting on this software regardless process development and the core function or the core purpose of the improvement, which is the process and function development. So they are talking only about automation. And whenever they are talking about automation, they are talking about a specific software or a vendor, which is maybe in some cases not powerful in ITSM automation. Do it yourself, it's a concept and some companies try to do it, but at the same time there is a little tiny problem, which is they don't have enough experience or even knowledgeable people inside them, so how can they develop although they don't know how it works. They are trying to save money as they can, but at the same time they are wasting time and resources and maybe the quality of their brand at the end. It's all about automation and not process. So they are talking about we need a software, we need automation, and the process is not problem. And by the way, in many cases, the customer is asking you for a software as phase one of the project, and then in the second phase, we will discuss, we will see, we will decide if we will or will not have ITSM implementation project. So they are not right, they are thinking only about automation and they don't know what is the importance of process, which is the beginning and earlier phase of whenever they are talking about some software and some automation, usually they are technical centric, which means they are talking about a specific vendor and they would like to deal with this vendor even if the solution this vendor provides is not totally right for their needs. And we have something which is funny, simply you are not ready for the implementation, but we are ready for the benefits. So, are ready or not? Ready as IT staff, ready as IT users, ready as vendors and suppliers, because we are talking about a management system which will change the the way we work in IT on a daily basis. So we need to have an awareness framework for all these stakeholders. So how can an IT department make the ITSM implementation projects succeed? First, before talking about how can we make it happen, we need to know what IT customers need. Because if we don't know or understand and analyze the needs of our customer, whatever a perfect solution we can reach, it will not match the needs of our customers, so it will be useless. So, IT department should provide his internal or external with what? Clear and appropriately published service catalog. So first of all, you should provide your customer with a service catalog telling them about what are the IT services you are providing and what are their features, availability, regulations, terms, conditions, and so on. And each service has its own detailed cost model with differentiated levels and costs, because not all customers would like to have the same service with the same level or cost. Of course, they are trying to have the lowest cost, but it will be different regarding and depending on the high level of quality they are asking about, something like high availability, continuity, disaster recovery side. We need security, encryption, and so on. We need a support 24/7. So whenever we have a different level, I guess that the cost in many cases will be higher. We need to have service level agreement related to and linking each service we provide to the customer who receives this service, so that it can protect both parties regarding all the roles and responsibilities and the levels of quality the customer is asking for and is paying for. The customer would like to have a model like pay as you go and actually pay as you grow. So whenever the needs are bigger, the customer will pay more, but not paying out of money, increasing every now and then, and at the same time the level of quality is getting gradually lower. At the same time, all customers would like to have a measurement for their satisfaction, so that whenever there is a problem with the IT service provided, the customer can make sure it will get help and support from IT service provider, reaching to the required level and agreed upon in the SLA. So it's all about people development. We can't forget people development, whether they are IT staff or customers, internal or external, and suppliers, whether they are internal or external. So how can we make it happen to make the ITSM implementation projects succeed? The first thing to start with is a dedicated assessment. And by the way, I prefer that the assessment to be isolated and to be a separate project, not to be at the beginning of the implementation project in the same project, because it will affect the budget, and maybe the project will be, the project scope will be changed radically. So I prefer that we can have an assessment, a simple, small project for only the assessment, and then we can have a dedicated project according to the assessment findings. And it's logical, but it's very hard and tough to convince your customer about something like this, and especially when IT is not the core function of this business. So whenever we have an assessment, it will be easy now for us to know what the as is and what to be, and to be we can get it from customer needs and the levels they are targeting, and the as is what we have already in our processes and functions, if we have any of them internal of inside of our organization. Then we can have a dedicated project which starts with quick wins, and these quick wins are decided based on customer needs, not what we can do. It's about what we can do and makes our customers more happier, and also not only customers, and also business log management in regard to business strategic targets. At the same time, we will be faced by change resistance, so we need to have a change management plan in mind, and to have a change champion inside the IT staff, inside IT users, and so on, so that whenever they see that this champion is dealing with change in a very simple and successful way, it will help them easily to do the same, so that change resistance will be minimized and we can manage it. We need to treat the IT staff in the topic we are talking about, whether it's ITIL only or ISO 20000 or them or both of them combined, or even governance like COVID or TUGAF, or whatever the ITSM implementation project will include. We need our IT staff to be trained, and by the way, not at the end of the project, no, it's before or at the beginning of the project, so that they can be well prepared for dealing with the consultants or the people who will implement the project. And we have a very good point, which is to make sure that who will implement the project is good enough to do it, having enough experience. And if we are trying to have, it's okay, but first try to build the internal staff and their expertise, so that they can do it with themselves. Then using the do-it-yourself is we need throughout the journey to have some support from external source of knowledge. And it shouldn't be something for, it can be ITSM forum in your country, it can be some books, some subject matter experts, if they are free and would like to participate in a project, even by points or best practice for implementation. So we can do it if we are well prepared internally. Because whenever you complete the project and selected processes, selected functions or management system, there will be performance stages after the project, and if we correctly manage the change resistance, of course, and then this level will be degraded because the change resistance will come back in months, and people will try to neglect and bypass the procedures because they are tough to follow, but at the same time they are easy to follow. So if you have a continuous service improvement, it will manage the change resistance better, and it will deal with the future needs business will have in the future. So the project will not fail later. It will continue successfully according to the CSI approach implemented. For the process automation, I think that after the assessment, we can decide which software vendor and which tool best suits our needs, and we can implement it according to our budget limits and our knowledge, and if the vendor has good standing in our country, has a lot of partners, has good prices, and so on. But don't think about automation as a separate project. It can be combined, and if it's only a separate project, it can be, but at the same time it should be done after the assessment. Never do it before assessment, because I have seen many customers, about more than 50% of the customers I have dealt with who implemented automation for their ITSM processes, and whenever you are asking them about what does a process means, he can't answer you. What is a function? What is the difference between change and service request, between incident and the problem? And no, there is no complete right answer. And at the same time, they have spent hundreds, thousands, and in some cases millions of dollars in software automation, which doesn't match the business needs. So they are going to ask about, what about process, what about function, and we would like to implement them after they have the automation. So it's something like having the horse in front of the car, not behind the car, not in front of it. So try to have the automation after the assessment and not before it. And simply try to keep away from distraction, because you will have the customer asking about something, the sponsor, the resistance, and what about automation, and you will have many points of distraction. So try to concentrate on your way, which is simply implement successful ITSM methodology, which leads our company, our organization, to do more with this, as we agreed in the middle of the webinar, but in a simple way. Thank you for your time, and if anyone has questions, please ask it.
Mr. Mostafa, thank you very much for this highly informative presentation. While we have some time left, we will go through some questions. The first one is one of the attendees has asked you to clarify if ISO 20000 requirement slide represent, in fact, the number between brackets represent the clause numbers of the standard or not?
Yeah, if we are going back to the ISO standard.
Yeah, this one.
In ISO standard, in ISO standard, we have 9 clauses. The first 3 ones are talking about introduction, about the ISO standard itself, the ISO IEC 20000 for year 2011, and the clause 4 to clause 9 are talking about the requirements. The requirements are covering 15 processes out of the ITIL 26 processes and a management system. And for the ISO 20000, it doesn't require anything related to functions. So if we are talking about a comparison between ITIL and ISO 20000, in ITIL we have 5 stages in a life cycle. We don't have them in ISO. We have 26 processes. We only have 15 ISO. We have 4 groups of people, which are called functions. We have 4 functions of people in ITIL. In ISO 20000, we are not talking about them, and we can't find them in the standard itself. And for the ISO itself, we have what is called a management system. The green part, clause number 4, service management system, which is not clear in the ITIL as a dedicated part, but it can be found in the framework, but not as dedicated part like here in the ISO standard. Requirements of the ISO standard, all of them should be implemented so that your organization can be certified against the ISO, because as they are called, they are requirements. But for the ITIL, it's a best practice. So if you are talking about ITIL, you can implement 1%, 2%, 100, whatever you like. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. Implement whatever suits your needs in a framework, something like ITIL, something like COBIT, something like Prince2, something like BMI, framework, PMBOK, and so on. But whenever we are talking about a standard consists of a group of requirements, not best practice. So for these requirements, you should implement them all inside your organization so that it can be certified and give the certificate. And we have some other differences, something like here in the ISO 20000, we have a process called service continuity and availability management. It's one service here, although it's in ITIL, it's 2 different separate processes, which is IT Service Continuity Management, ITSCM, and Availability Management. We also have here another difference, which is budgeting and accounting for services, which is called IT Financial Management in ITIL. We also have incident and service request management as a one process here, although in ITIL it's incident management as a separate process and request fulfillment as another separate process. But they are talking about the same concept, by the way. I have seen many customers who have implemented ITIL processes and would like to take ISO 20000 as a shortcut because we have already implemented ITIL processes. So they are talking about the same thing with different meanings. So it's easy.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mostafa. And the last question is, which are some of the strategies that top management should apply during the implementation of the ITSM projects?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's simply about assigning a sponsor. This sponsor is a powerful one inside the organization who can lead the project remotely, who can provide resources and top management commitment, and at the same time to have clear objectives needed out of the project, so that it's not about having a project and the time, cost, quality triangle, as we all know. No, it's about the benefits. So we have in the field of project management, we have something which is called output, then it leads to outcome, then it leads to benefits. So we are talking about benefits. First of all, try to define the benefits business needs, then hire a sponsor and have an assessment, a dedicated assessment, and after the assessment, decide what is the business option. Do nothing. I will not implement ITSM, and maybe it's good. Maybe we need some software, hiring other people, changing the roles and responsibilities of some people. It's okay. Don't implement ITSM. Maybe we need to implement ITSM by doing yourself. We have some experienced people inside the IT department and they can implement it. It's okay. Maybe we need to hire external consultants or a consultancy company. It's okay. So we need to define our needs, make our business option decision, what we will do, and if we decide to implement the ITSM, we need to have a project with clear benefits so that we can achieve it at the end. And don't forget to use some successful methodologies like BCS, which is British Computer Society, BCS, business analysis. You can use the business analysis methodology. It will help you more about how to define your needs correctly, because it's about the needs. If you don't know your needs correctly, you can have a great project with a great people and a lot of money spent, and at the end, you didn't achieve what you dreamed of.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mostafa, for this great presentation and for answering the questions. I want to thank all the attendees as well for joining us this webinar. We hope you enjoyed this webinar, and also you can watch this session recorded and view the presentation slides on our website www.pcb.com. In the end, I just want to inform you that next Monday we are hosting another webinar titled Exercising a Business Continuity Management System Plan. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.